1.21.10 as well as 1.21.20 have combined into one of the larger minor updates we've seen in quite a long time, adding several fixes, several changes, and several other different types of things like that, such as the fact that maces now no longer work exactly like swords when it comes to chopping down things like bamboo, going through cobwebs, and a whole bunch of other different types of things like that. And when we lose one functionality with one thing, we get more functionality with other things, such as this new summon wind charge projectile command, which will obviously summon the projectile of the wind charge right beneath you, launching us right up from where we launched that entire thing. But let's assume you do have some wind charges and you were riding across the land with a mob or something like that on top of it. Well, let's say you were to launch that mob up in the air, then they will take player damage. They will take the fall damage that you won't take when you actually land on the ground. Camel, I don't mean to do this to you. I'm very sorry I'm doing this to you. But if that was mildly confusing, then just take note that the fact that some of the things inside the game have been made mildly less confusing with the fact that they have now been labeled underneath certain different types of rarity, dependent on what different type of color they're actually labeled under. Say with, say, heavy cores. They are very much so a pretty rare thing. Nether stars, they're only a kind of rare thing. Mob heads, they are a pretty rare thing, but not impossible to get thing. It's a relatively easy thing to understand, almost as easy as the fact that now drowns actually only spawn one at a time rather than two at a time. Probably to help out with stability and just to match every other different type of mob that actually generates inside the game. Or most of every other different type of mob inside the game. There's also been quite a number of sound changes that's been added to this update, mainly to do with the crafter and the copper bolt. Say with like the crafter crafting something, or like the copper bolt being turned on or being broken or things like that. Which does sound a whole lot better than a bee drowning 1 second after it's inside the water, and yep, it is dying like pretty much immediately when it's inside the water, and I am so sorry I had to do that to you, little bee. And I'm so sorry I have to do this to you again. But yeah, after 1 second of a bee being submerged underwater, it will start drowning. But I think personally, some of the most interesting and useful things actually come from the Trail Ruins, because now, as this one update, you can actually now find broken, damaged anvils inside of Trail Ruins. Supposedly, I'm not seeing one in here, but you should be able to find anvils or slightly damaged anvils inside of Trail Ruins. I might be missing it. I'm pretty sure it's here, but I just can't find it myself. But just know you do have that slim but possible chance of it happening. But let's maybe try going to another one just to make sure. Man, I'm not that lucky in these ruins. So if I had to guess, it's probably an incredibly rare chance of it generating, but just in the case you do have that rare chance, then you should be able to find just very damaged anvils inside of Trail Ruins somehow. The other major change comes with the Ominous Vaults, because for some reason the chance of getting rare loots was actually really all over the place, where instead of you getting like 80% chance of getting rare loot, you had like 20%, and there was like a hotfix which tried fixing it, but then it didn't really, and now as this one update, hopefully that should now have been fixed, and you should now be seeing 80% of good loot as opposed to 20% of good loot, and it being naturally spawned in dependent on the seed rather than on random chance. Hopefully. Hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully. Because going through 19 random trial chambers in the attempt of getting one Windburst book, that's not really ideal, as I have obviously had an experience of having. So you can only hope that this thing is actually fixed now. Hopefully. There's also been quite a lot of changes which average players might not notice, but some of the more technical players might notice, such as the fact that now trapdoors and fence gates, when activated by redstone, now no longer actually push the player out of the way. Obviously, if you are like being crawling or something like that, then it'll still do that. And let's say, for instance, we were to log out of the world and looking, say, like at this open vaults we can see right here. Now when we actually log out and log back in, then we'll be looking in the exact same place as where we actually logged off in the world. So if we actually do that, and okay, it's mildly different, it's just a touch different, but it's still generally in the same spot as where you actually left it off. And yeah, while this isn't everything that's come out, this is some of the most interesting things that's come out in the 1.21.20 update. Check it out for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.